Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the Frontline Changes Report for the past 24 hours for the 24th of November, the 1005th day of this Ukraine war. So we're going to start off with the Kursk front, and then we'll work our way clockwise direction. A lot of frontline changes the past 24 hours is a bit crazy. So over at the Kursk front on the eastern flank, Russian forces have captured Darino, and there is one more geolocation to make it entirely without doubt that Russian forces have fully captured Darino. And based on the Russian mapping, they based on the analysis that the Russians are attacking towards Svitiklovo, they have analyzed that, made a judgment call to say that Tostilok is now under Russian control. This also comes at the same time because there was no footage of fighting at Tostilok for a very, very long time. So their claim is now from Nizhny Klint all the way to Zeleny Shliak and Tostilok all under Russian control. This is the Russian claim. So this is the frontline changes around here. So then after this area, so the distance from Tostilok all the way to the furthest point is around 5 kilometers. So it's and definitely you can't go in the straight road because of the water body here. The Ukrainian forces have been geolocated in the north of Krylik, and this confirmed Ukrainian positions around Krylik. This confirms that the Ukrainians have a much further position than previously understood. I also do note that on the 8th of August, the Ukrainians have actually previously captured Krylik. So this is not entirely of a surprise that the Ukrainians are still there. So this is the only positive frontline change over this past 24 hours. So that's the situation in the northern flank or the eastern flank, I believe. Northern flank of the eastern flank of the Kursk front. So after the Kursk front, we jumped all the way to the Kupiansk front. At the Kupiansk front, according to the Ukrainian sources, they claim that the Russian forces have crossed the river in the north of Doreshny and captured some positions across the river at Oskil River. So this is the frontline change around this sector. And according to the Ukrainian sources, they say that the Russians are not just for a photo shoot. They actually captured Ukrainian positions. So this is looking like a little bit more serious than usual. So let's see, how this continue to play out. This looks like a complicated geography. So I wouldn't hold my breath for now. Further south, over at the Pischani front, Russian forces have finally seen this advance. Finally, due to this geolocation of Russian forces west of Stemakivka, this actually prompts the Ukrainian mapping to acknowledge that they have lost positions all around Lozova. So this is the full extent of the loss of the grounds. Stemakivka, as a result, is fully secured by the Russian forces. The entire front line is pretty long. It's around 7 kilometers long. At the very least, from top to bottom, we are not even measuring the perimeter. So this is a huge advance. The total the advance is around 3 kilometers from east to west. So this is the advance around Lozova region. So this after this frontline change at Lozova, the next frontline change is further south, over in the Borova sector. So this is Borova, and at the Kopanki region, Russian mapping claims that they have expanded their control around Kopanki and Petrotravneve, capturing more grounds west of Nadia, which means that Ukrainian forces, if they are around the Nadia region, will be in deep trouble. Potential encirclement is coming due to this flanking operation. So the total distance traveled at the furthest point is around maybe 2.4 kilometers. So that's all from this region. They did report that the Ukrainians are putting stern defense around Kopanki, so they are still unable to break through over in Kopanki itself. So after this Kopanki, the next frontline change is at Terny. So at Terny region, according to the Russian mapping, they have claimed that the entire Gali region east of Terny has been fully taken by the Russian forces. So this Gali region is pretty long, around 3 kilometers in perimeter, I guess. And so that's the advance. It's around 1 kilometers, in terms of the distance traveled. So that's Terny. After Terny, the next frontline change is over at Horivka. So we jump all the way to Pokrov front. So just now we were here. So now we are going here. and there's nothing coming. There's nothing between happening around there. So over the Pokrovsk front at the Selidove sector, Russian forces advance in multiple sectors. They have entered into Zovte for the first time. Yurivka has been captured by the Russian forces. As I mentioned, it is an encirclement during the situation report. So no, so the Ukrainian forces can't possibly hold Yurivka. So Russian forces captured it, and Russian forces also advanced in the region north of Novodimitrivka. So this advance also is pretty extensive. Particularly, this area here is around 5.13 square kilometers, so it's pretty big. And also north of Krychorivka, there's some straightening of the front line. So yeah, there's some little things here and there. And yeah, so this is the full extent of the frontline changes around the Selidove sector of the Pokrov front. And with this frontline change over at Novodimitrivka, they are heading in the direction of Zoria. So that's the frontline significance around this sector. We move into the Kurakove sector. At the Kurakove sector, also massive changes. Russian forces fully secured Voznesenka, and the entire salient, as I mentioned, around Novoselidivka cannot be held. Is now indeed has fallen. The entire front line has collapsed, with Russian forces taking all the grounds in the south of Novoselidivka and in the northwest of Ilinka. As I mentioned, this kind of salient is just not possible to be held. You're potentially going to be encircled, and I did encourage that the Ukrainians have to withdraw, and indeed that we are probably seeing this with the Ukrainian forces holding lines at Bereski to try to hold out. But with the Russians advancing around Voznesenka, I think this is why they have to abandon positions in the south of Novoselidivka. So and in Kurakove itself, the frontline change I'm expecting did happen, but it's not as big as I thought it would be. So it's just a securing of the grounds in the southeast of Kurakove. So the situation here continues to be very, very difficult for the Ukrainians, and we will continue to monitor, of course, as the situation in this front line. And in the south of Kurakove sector, we go to the Uspenivka sector. At this front line, Russian forces expanded control around Dalne, and as expected, Russian forces captured Antonivka and Katerinivka. And geolocation confirmed that the Russian forces have fully captured all the open grounds north of Ilinka, and the Russian forces also expanded control around Yelizavetivka. So geolocation of Russian forces in the east of Ilinka and all these confirmed Russian presence and attacks in this area here. So the salient, the Uspenivka salients continue to collapse, and so this is the frontline changes in this sector. And we move on from the Uspenivka sector to the Velika Novosilka sector. The frontline changes mainly around Velika Novosilka, a little bit at Novodarivka. At Velika Novosilka, the Ukrainian mapping have corroborated a lot of the claims. In fact, they have expanded on it, with the Russian forces doing a mini northern flanking movement now happening towards the north of Velika Novosilka. Geolocation of Russian forces confirmed that the Russians have attacked towards also the northern part, because there is a river here. So these are all part of this northern front of this Velika Novosilka sector. Russian forces also, based on Ukrainian mapping, confirmed to have captured the entrenchment over at this industrial or farming facilities around here in the southeast. So this is the other sector. Wrong color. This is the other sector that the Russians have to attack through. So this 1, 2, and then there's one more over here, but the Russians are not there. So the Russians are not over here. They are not here. So the Russians are advancing on Velika Novosilka sector on multiple sectors. So definitely it's getting tense. The Russians are going to try to encircle as much as they can before they do they launch a direct attack into the town. This is what I think they're going to be doing. Over at Novodarivka, the Russian forces geolocated in a new position west of Novodarivka, confirming that they have entered into Novodarivka for the first time. This is a small frontline change. Ukrainian forces must be holding a very stern defense around here, which is why there is so slow in terms of the frontline changes. So these are all the frontline changes, and if you look at the total area captured, the biggest over the past 24 hours is the Pischane front. So the Pischane front, due to this collapse of the Lozova sector region, and the second is around Pokrov sector, which is all these various frontline changes all together. So Kurakove, is 13. So actually Kurakove is the second one. Kurakove due to the collapse at the Novosibirsk region. So do some quick calculation on this total Russian. The Ukrainians are quite straightforward. Ukrainians only have 2.97 due to this Kursk front mini success. For the Russians, so 14.07 plus 0.13 plus 14.51 plus 4.17. Actually, Kursk was second. I was blind. 4.17 plus 2.22 plus 10.04 plus 13.7 plus 3.08 plus 9.3. So total captured region is 75.39 square kilometers, which is yeah, I think this is around the average. I think the Russian forces are capturing around 75 square kilometers per day for this past week or two already. So this seems to be the standard now. So anyway, thank you for watching. Press the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next update.